All right, welcome everyone to the Sam Draper Honors Program's Fall 2021 information session. My name is Dr. Katie Lynch, and I am the chair of the Sam Draper Honors Program. And I am joined tonight by some people that you'll meet in a little while, some of our faculty mentors from the program, some alumni from the program, and a current student from the program, all of whom will speak about it and share their experiences with you. The way we'll do this is that I have a brief presentation, won't take more than about half an hour, and that presentation will be about the structure of the program, its opportunities. I'll share some of the data with you about where our students go after they leave RCC. I'll share some anecdotes about former students with you, and then we will hear from our faculty mentors. Those are the people who support the students as they move through the program and their time at RCC. Then we'll hear from alumni and current students. And finally, there will be plenty of time for Q&A. Now, what you'll notice is that in this webinar, there is a Q&A tab at the bottom of your Zoom screen. And so if you have a question at any point, please feel free to put it in that Q&A tab. I have two wonderful people in the background, Carol Coira, the coordinator, of the honors program, and Teresa Mano, our support staff. And they will be monitoring the Q&A. And if they can't answer your question, I will take it live, and I might take some of them live as well, just to make sure that everyone gets the answers that they need. But there will be ample time for Q&A at the end of the session as well. Okay. So I want to start by telling you a story about the people you see in this picture. Right here, the person on the right-hand side wearing the blue gloves, who's right at the front of the screen, her name is Jasmine. And Jasmine is in the lab right now working with a couple other honor students and some other students from RCC. This photo was taken a few years ago, pre-COVID, as you can tell. And behind everyone is Dr. Jeff McLean, who is one of our biology faculty members at RCC. Dr. McLean leads a research lab on bacteriophages. Those are viruses that attack bacteria. And Jasmine, as a part of her work at RCC, decided to take his lab class on bacteriophages. Jasmine came to RCC as an early admit student, meaning that she was a high school senior when she began at RCC. And so she graduated her high school at the same time as she finished her first year of college. Some of you in the audience might be interested in doing the same thing, and I'm happy to tell you how that works. We'll even talk about the admissions process later for early admit students specifically. So after Jasmine graduated high school, she spent one extra year at RCC to finish up her associate degree. And Jasmine was really interested in the sciences. She wanted to be a doctor. And she had her eye on Johns Hopkins University specifically. And we actually have one of our panelists tonight, one of our alumni, not Jasmine, but another alum who actually also went to Johns Hopkins and whom Jasmine was able to mentor because Jasmine was there before her. And that's Neola, and you'll hear from her later. So a few of the take-home messages that I want you to understand from this picture are, yes, you can do honors and high school at the same time. Yes, as an RCC honors student, you can do original research supervised by a very highly qualified faculty member. That will help you with a college application to a place as prestigious as Johns Hopkins, where Jasmine went in and ended up doing great. So that is just one of the many stories that I will tell you tonight. Here's our agenda. Obviously, I've just welcomed you. Welcome, I'm glad you're here. We're going to talk about the program history and mission. We'll talk about its structure. We'll then talk about an opportunity that unfortunately has not been available to our students for a few years now, just a couple years, the Cambridge Study Abroad program. And we are really hoping that this coming summer, the summer of 2022, we can actually take advantage of that program again, but we won't know because, of course, the coronavirus is very unpredictable. So we don't know that yet, but we're still keeping our fingers crossed. We'll talk about where our students go from here. We'll talk about the scholarships available when you transfer. It's an important part of the question of how do you pay for what comes next. We'll then discuss how to apply to honors, and it's at that point that I will stop talking and you will hear from our mentors, our alumni, and our current students. And then we will go into a formal Q&A. For those of you who may have just entered though, please feel free at any point to put a question in the Q&A tab at the bottom of the screen. Let me tell you one more story before we move along. The gentleman who is very dapperly dressed in this photo is Duran Payne. Duran started at a four-year institution and he was playing basketball, but he decided to leave that four-year institution and come to RCC, and he had a goal of leading RCC to the state championships in basketball. He unfortunately did not meet that goal, but his English teacher realized that he was a really strong student and recommended that he join the honors program, which he did. He ended up doing very well. He went to Cambridge to study abroad in the summertime. That's a picture of him there at Cambridge with all the ivy on the walls. And he came back for his second year, very energized, very motivated, very focused. And he was focused specifically on going to Georgetown University to study business. So Duran, who he had his own entrepreneurial ventures on the side, he would buy and sell sneakers, which is pretty cool. Duran ended up getting pretty much a full scholarship to Georgetown. He didn't really have to pay very much out of pocket. He graduated a couple years ago, and he is now an entrepreneur. He is working for himself at this point after starting at Red Venture. So he is doing great. I've talked to him a lot, and he has sometimes featured in our presentations. So I want you to know what's possible. Some of you in the audience might be current RCC students, and you're interested in joining the honors program after you've already started at RCC. We love that. Please do. And I'll tell you more about that later. So what is this program all about? Well, first of all, let's look at the pretty picture. You've got a photo of us doing a cultural event. This was in 2019, in the fall of 2019, those halcyon days. We went to see To Kill a Mockingbird. And when there's not a pandemic on, we love doing things like this. We actually have money from the Student Government Association that helps subsidize tickets. We also have money from our benefactor and founder, Dr. Sam Draper, who left some money in a bequest, and we can use that to help students gain access to some really high profile activities that otherwise might be out of cost for them. So Dr. Draper founded the Sam Draper Honors Program in 1977. We're over 40 years old, pretty old for a community college honors program. We have a liberal arts emphasis. So even when our students are pursuing majors in more technical fields such as business, they are still getting a very strong liberal arts, robust liberal arts education. Our model is high challenge, high support. What that means is that we are going to give you a rigorous academic experience. We're going to push you really hard in class, but we are also going to support you while we do it. And the way that we do that is we have mentorship. Every single honor student has a faculty mentor, and they're matched based on interest, on academic interest. So if you're interested in mathematics or physics or computer science, you'll be mentored by one of our mathematics faculty. If you're interested in chemistry, we have a chemistry faculty member, or biology, we have a biology mentor. We also have a business mentor, and we have 2 mentors in the humanities and social sciences. So we have a lot, great diversity in our mentorship. We're able to support our students by offering that one-on-one support throughout their time. We also have a writing and research intensive program, and that's why we take especially our first year writing courses so seriously at the honors level. We are preparing you to read and write in a very elevated and scholarly fashion so that you can succeed not only at RCC, but also beyond. And finally, we have a required applied learning course, meaning that you must, in order to gain honors designation, take an internship, a study abroad program when those are offered, or do a research opportunity like Jasmine did. And what we find is that this prepares our students to write really strong applications for their next step. And it also helps you figure out what you want to do after you leave RCC, which is really important. We have a strong track record of helping students transfer to some of the best universities in the world. And not everyone can do that. But those who flourish at RCC, those who are pushing themselves really hard, getting very good grades, getting involved in campus, they are able to transfer very well. We have students transfer to Ivy League institutions every year and to comparable Tier 1 institutions. And I'll be sharing some transfer data quickly with you in about the middle of this presentation. I will also be sharing all of these slides with everyone who registered in addition to the recording. So, if some piece of information passes you by quickly, if you zone out for a second, please don't worry. The information will come to you later tonight or tomorrow in your email that you use to register for this session. And finally, RCC's costs cannot be beat. Higher education in America is very expensive, and you can save over $100,000 and even much more than that, 150 in some cases, by starting at RCC before you transfer. So those are some of the benefits of the program. The program right now has 3 honors tracks. Humanities and social science, great for students studying either. So English, history, psychology, anthropology, sociology, etc. Math and science, best for those who are studying the natural sciences. And we also have a related math track that allows students who, and a computer science track, a new computer science track that allows students who want to focus in those specific areas or on physics. And then we also have an honors track in business administration. In order to get honors designation, you need to take a minimum of 8 honors courses within your degree. You need to have that applied learning experience. You have to have a 3.5 GPA or higher. You must attend a transfer seminar before you apply to your four-year institution so that you can be well prepared to do so. That's a basic overview of the transfer process. And it's best if you become involved in RCC's community. That's a great way to distinguish yourself, to add some really valuable information to your resume, and of course, to really connect with your peers and to make this a fun experience for yourself. The friendships that develop out of the honors program last a lifetime, and it's really exciting to see that and to be a part of that. Let me talk a little bit about a really special opportunity that, again, we are hoping to be able to offer this coming year, this coming summer. The Cambridge Study Abroad program is a program whereby students go to Cambridge University in England for 2 weeks, and you're studying through Cambridge's Institute of Continuing Education. There are a variety of topics that you can study, and I've listed them there. After your 2-week course, you start working on a research paper that's related to one of the classes that you took, and you're mentored through this process by an RCC faculty member. You receive 4 academic credits for this work, and it counts as an honors class, so it's very exciting. In the photo before you, you see one of our latest groups of students who was able to go to Cambridge, and Carol Coiro, our wonderful assistant coordinator, was able to go with them for a part of their trip. And it was really exciting. The grass was very dry. It was a very hot summer in England that year. And again, we're hoping to offer this again in 2022. So now we're going to talk a little bit about where RCC honors students transfer. These are a few of the destinations that have accepted RCC students over the past several years. And there are many more than these. You will see them in just a moment, but I wanted to give you a little graphical representation. I want to be very transparent with you about the likelihood of getting into some of these places. When you are doing your homework and your research about where you want to go to school, if you are still in high school, let's say that you're a sophomore or a junior in high school, maybe even younger, which would be wonderful, and you look at these institutions, you want to compare their transfer acceptance rates to the acceptance rate of first-year students right out of high school, okay? Oftentimes, you will find that the transfer acceptance rate for the most elite institutions is lower than the high school acceptance rate. So that's true for an institution such as Stanford or MIT. They actually accept more students right out of high school than they do accept transfer students. However, if there's no way that you can get in out of high school, you can come to RCC, you can do an amazing job, and you can become competitive for those institutions. And we have had RCC honors students transfer to them. One of my favorite stories to tell is a story about a wonderful person named Febin Bellamy. Febin graduated from high school, went to Spring Valley, and he graduated with a 1.67 GPA. High school wasn't the best for him. He was really struggling with some issues relating to his family, and he couldn't concentrate on school very much. And I think a lot of us have been there. Febin came to RCC, and in his first semester, he was not in the honors program because his high school grades weren't high enough to gain him acceptance. But he did really well at RCC. And then he was accepted into the honors program starting in his second semester. He remained at RCC for 2.5 years, so 2 years and then 1 semester after that. He gained a bunch of great transfer credit. He did really, really well. He got involved in all kinds of activities, and he ended up transferring to Georgetown. Now, Georgetown asked to see his high school transcripts, but it didn't matter to them. He had done so well at RCC. He had great letters of recommendation. He was challenging himself and pushing himself so hard. They accepted him, and he went on to do great at Georgetown. He did so many wonderful things. So that's the kind of story I love to hear. So if high school hasn't been the best for you, that doesn't mean that you can't access one of these institutions. It just means that when you get to RCC and you're in the honors program, you want to really put your head down, work hard, take advantage of all the opportunities, and then see what opens to you, what doors open to you. So I want to show you a little bit about our recent transfer outcomes. Here are a couple pie charts. I'm going to show you data from 2019, 2020, and then 2021, our most recent grads. And I just want to show you where students go. So generally speaking, when we say tier 1, we're thinking about schools that have been ranked by US News and World Report around 1 to 50 or so. Okay, oh, I'm sorry. One of my dogs just decided to join me. 1 to 50 on US News and World Report. Now, if that is a strange measurement to you, right? US News and World Report ranks colleges every year, okay? So that ranking is their business. And all I've done is I've said tier 1 is 1 to 50. If you're expecting a school to appear in tier 1 that appears in tier 2, I apologize. Please don't hold it against me. We just have to make our cutoff somewhere, okay? Tier 2 is around 51 to 100. That's how we're defining it. Then we also break things out by SUNY, CUNY, the City University of New York, and other. Okay, so you can see the breakdown here. We always have a lot of students accessing SUNY. And in fact, if you are interested in going to a school like SUNY Binghamton or like SUNY Stony Brook, this is a great place to start. It's cheaper, and we send a lot of students there every year. We have a very strong transfer articulation agreement with all of these places, okay? And we really do a great job of placing our students. In fact, if you come to RCC first, you're guaranteed a spot at a SUNY. It might not be your top choice depending on how well you do, but you are guaranteed a spot within the system, which is very exciting. Let's look at our most recent graduates, 2021. What you'll see is, again, the pattern holds. A lot of students, almost half of those who replied to us. The number here is 44. We did have more students in the program, but not everyone replied to our survey asking them where they transferred to. So of our 44, 41% of them ended up at a SUNY. We had a strong showing at our tier 1 institutions last year, and I'll break that down for you in a few minutes. And again, I'm going to fly through some of this so you'll have the data for yourself so that you can really look at it when I send you these PDFs later. In 2019, you can see some of our top transfer choices. It's always interesting to note where students choose to go. Binghamton, we're practically a highway there. So that bears out what I said recently. Stony Brook, Buffalo, and Albany as well. New Paltz is usually a popular choice too. But then you see some of those tier 1s in there as well, like Cornell and Fordham and places like NYU and Columbia. Very exciting for our students to access. Let's look at where the tier 1 schools where students were accepted in 2019. I'll give you a a list here of those options. Just let you look at that for a second. You're going to see that some of the names on this list as we go through the years stay the same. There's always going to be students getting into Cornell, always students getting into Columbia. We've had a great relationship with Georgia Tech recently. We've had 2 students out of the past 3 years get into Georgia Tech, which is very exciting. NYU is especially exciting as well. There's a scholarship opportunity that I'll explain later. Here's 2020. We had students get into Carleton College and the College of William and Mary, kind of for the first time, which is really exciting. Grinnell College out in Iowa, Kenyon College in Ohio, places where students hadn't traditionally been applying, and we really encourage students to apply beyond the Northeast. There's some great schools all over the country. And then our most recent grads, which you can see is we had a wonderful student get into Barnard. We had more students get into Carleton and William and Mary, more students get into Cornell and Columbia. Emory was a choice for one of our students who wanted to pursue nursing. More Johns Hopkins, more NYU, more Georgetown, some of our staples, really exciting. So, sometimes we only have 1 or 2 students getting into these places, but that could be you, and I hope that it will be. Now, I just want to breeze through some of our other acceptances here. You can see we've sent students to places like Bard and Rutgers and Farley Dickinson, GW, Sarah Lawrence, Delaware, American, Lehigh, Purdue, Stevens, UMass Amherst, Syracuse, University of Miami, San Diego, San Francisco, Vermont. So, Worcester Polytech, Virginia Polytech, all over the country. And we are always helping our students with that transfer step. Here's a little bit more data. I'm just going to breeze through this so that, and again, you can ruminate on it at your own leisure if you'd like. Just to show you our SUNY statistics, very much Binghamton is the top destination. Stony Brook is in close second, and you'll see that this over time remains pretty consistent, with Binghamton remaining very, very strong choice for our students. A lot of students want to go there. And when they go, they see their friends. There's a whole cadre of RCC honors students at Binghamton every year, and they help each other and they mentor each other. And it's just a wonderful family there. Stony Brook as well, and Buffalo too. Now, we do send students to CUNY, and a lot of our business students are very attracted to the Zicklin School of Business at Baruch. So you'll see that Baruch and Hunter are pretty consistently our top destinations within SUNY, okay? So if we look at CUNY, over 2020. The same kind of pattern holds true. We have City College, we have Baruch, and if we look at 2021, we've got, again, a very similar pattern there. Okay, so Hunter, City College, and Baruch remain very popular. Now, I do see a question in the Q&A, and I'm going to answer this question live. There's a question about Cornell's agricultural school and whether it has a good acceptance rate. Yes, so there are certain parts of Cornell that are more transfer friendly than others. And so the 3 transfer friendly parts of Cornell are as follows: the College of Agriculture and Life Science, which you mentioned, the person who asked the question, so thank you for that. The College of Human Ecology, and the School of Industrial Labor Relations. Those are the 3 parts of Cornell that are the most transfer friendly. And every year we send students to one or all of those parts of Cornell. The traditional part of Cornell, the College of Arts and Science, is transfer unfriendly. It is not transfer friendly. The acceptance rate is around 1%. Rarely, if ever, do we have students accepted to that part of Cornell. But if you are interested in one of those other 3 parts, you can attend, and the acceptance rate is strong. And so we've sent up to sometimes 6 students have gotten into Cornell in any given year. It's usually somewhere between 2 and 6 who get into Cornell. We have also had students accepted to the hotel school, and the hotel school, along with Cornell's business programs, the Applied Economics and Management program, is now all folded under a new part of Cornell, the S.C. Johnson College of Business. So we don't yet have any data for that school because it's just now coming into being. So this is the first year students will apply for it. They will apply to that school. So we'll let you know how that one goes. But traditionally, we think we're a pretty strong match for that college, and we have had students access the hotel school. Also, great things to know about the transfer friendly parts of Cornell. They are, as you mentioned, public institutions or partially publicly funded, and as a result, their tuition is lower. And sometimes you can even use the Excelsior Scholarship. So that's a really exciting aspect of Cornell. We love transferring to Cornell. Now let's talk about the money, since I just mentioned tuition. When you're thinking about transferring, it's important to also think about how you will pay for it. Every 4-year school has what's called a net price calculator that is somewhere near their front page. It's a really good idea to look at that. And it's also a good idea to know what your scholarship options are. I'm listing just a few here. The first is a highly prestigious and very competitive scholarship program called the Jack Kent Cooke Foundation Undergraduate Transfer Scholarship. Only about 45 to 50 students are awarded this scholarship every year, but the scholarship can be up to $55,000 for the next 2 years annually, which is really exciting. That's an over $100,000 scholarship potentially. And the Jack Kent Cooke Foundation has mentorship available. They do all kinds of wonderful things for their cookies, as they call them. This scholarship, the process for applying is deeply rigorous. So if you want it, you want to know early that you're going to go for it. For example, right now, students are applying and the application deadline is in December, and they are using the common application for transfer to do that. There's also great scholarships available through NYU. I mentioned this before, the Community College Transfer Opportunity Program that is only open to community college students from schools in the New York metropolitan area. So all of the schools in CUNY that are community colleges, plus Westchester, Rockland, and I think that's about it. It's a small subset of schools. That Community College Transfer Opportunity Program will partially defray the cost of NYU, but it is also competitive and you need to have 60 transferable credits. So it's important to keep that in mind early if you are interested in thinking about that, so that we can plan for it. That's why mentorship is such an important part of the honors program, because we know that some of these scholarships and some of these opportunities, you have to start planning for them very early. And so that's why we match you with a faculty person who will be able to help you along your journey. Phi Theta Kappa, if you don't know, is an international 2-year college honor society. It is open to RCC students who have achieved a GPA of 3.6 or higher and have no incompletes on their record. And when you join Phi Theta Kappa, you gain access to scholarships that are only for PTK members. And so some of those scholarships come through PTK itself as an organization, while other of those scholarships come from 4-year institutions that give money explicitly to PTK members. So there are 2 different kinds of scholarships, but both of them are only available to you if you're a member of PTK. yet another reason to work really hard right off the gate so that you can, go ahead and join that society and reap the benefits. There's also something called the Finch College Scholarship, which is available to adult female students over the age of 22. And when they're transferring, if you're 22 or older by the time you're transferring, then you can apply for these scholarships funded by the alumni of Finch College, which no longer exists, but their alumni still exist, and they are very passionate about supporting female students as they make their way through transfer and beyond. And then finally, RCC itself offers scholarships. Every spring, there's a scholarship cycle at RCC. So we always encourage our honor students to apply. Okay. Now, how do you apply to the honors program? If this all sounds good to you, if you are ready to join up, and I hope you are, first, okay, if you are a high school student, you must apply to and be accepted by Rockland Community College. That is your first step. Okay, the application for fall 2022, that's next fall, will open in mid-November. So you have a little bit of time, and then the application will open and you can start to apply. We see most of our students applying in February and March, okay, and that's a great time to apply. So no need to apply right away, but if you'd like to, you certainly may. In order to apply to honors, so after you've applied to RCC, then you can apply to honors. You're going to visit our website. There is an interview application. We interview every single person who applies to our program. And there is an essay, it's a 500-word maximum essay. There's a short application, and then we need your high school transcript and 2 letters of recommendation submitted to us, and we will then contact you to schedule an interview. So let's talk about what we're looking for. Roughly an 88 cumulative GPA, that's about a 3.5 on a 4.0 scale. If you've taken the SAT or the ACT, we're looking for about 1150 on the SAT or a 26 plus on the ACT. However, those test scores are not required to join the honors program. We only want you to self-report them if you have them. And the only reason we care about them at all is because some four-year schools do require SAT and ACT scores or ACT scores, from their transfer applicants. So what I mean by that is if you're applying to, let's say, Harvard still requires SATs, even if you're applying as a transfer student. So if we look at your scores and we see that they're a little low for Harvard, we are going to use that opportunity to mentor you, to tell you it's a good idea for you to retake the SATs after your first year so that you can try to earn a higher score that will be competitive at Harvard. But we will never, ever, ever judge you based on your test scores. So again, if you don't want to report them to us, you don't have to. But if you have taken the test, we hope you will report them so we can mentor you more effectively, okay? And finally, you are so much more than a number. If you are even in the ballpark of these scores, please do apply, especially if high school was a rough start for you and then you became stronger and stronger over time as a student. We respect and admire that upward trajectory, and we likely will give you a chance, okay? Now, what if you are a current RCC student? Great, we definitely want your application, and your application's a little bit shorter. It's best to apply as soon as you can, so in your first or second semester. The longer you've been at RCC, the more difficult it will be to complete your honors requirements. So just try to get started as soon as possible. You can be a full-time student or a part-time student. We've had students do the honors program in both ways. Here are your steps. You're going to visit our website. You'll fill out the interview application for current students. It's a slightly different application. You're going to ask one RCC professor who has taught you in class to submit a letter of recommendation to our email address, and then we're going to contact you to schedule an interview. Now, you do need to have a cumulative GPA of 3.5 or higher by the end of the semester before you enter the program, okay? Because if you're not doing well in RCC non-honors, it's unlikely that you'll do well in RCC honors. So we need you to have that 3.5 at the very least. If you're an early admit student, the process is very similar to being a high school senior, but you need to also make sure that you have applied to RCC's early admit program and that you're talking to your guidance counselor, okay? So once you've been accepted to the RCC early admit program, then you are going to apply to the honors program. But first, you need to apply to RCC and be accepted as an early admit student. And I'm happy to answer any questions if that's confusing. Now, as an early admit student, you have high school requirements. Oh, sorry, one more time. You have high school requirements that you are going to fulfill. okay? And you are responsible for those high school requirements. In other words, we need you to tell us what you need. Every high school in this county is a little bit different. Some require that you take a certain number of credits. Others don't have that kind of requirement. All of them are going to require that you take 2 semesters of English, 2 semesters of physical education, an economics course, and a political science course. But sometimes they have more specific requirements than that. So we need you to be the bridge between us and your high school, right? Because you need to get a high school diploma. It's really, really important that you get a high school diploma, okay? Now, one caveat here. Some four-year schools will not accept college credits taken in high school, or they will only accept a limited number of college credits taken in high school. I do not believe this is fair, but it is the way it is, and there's nothing I can do to change the minds of those institutions. This is especially true for the most elite institutions. For example, Cornell has a very strict limit on the number of college credits taken in high school that they will allow. Columbia similarly has a very strict limit. So you want to be careful, and I'm happy to talk more about that in Q&A about what those limits are. But please do your research, and if you're having trouble, if you don't know where to start, please let me know and I will direct you to the places to start for that research. Now, it is time for me to welcome our mentors to the stage. Not everyone you see before you is able to be here tonight because they all lead very busy lives with families and it's difficult in an evening event. But we have several mentors who are going to speak with you now and talk with you about their role within the program. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen, but I just wanted to, give you a sense of the diversity of mentorship here, and I'll stop sharing and I am going to welcome our mentors. So we're actually going to begin with Professor Andrew Jacobs, and he is going to join us on the stage, so to speak, in just a moment. And Professor Jacobs is going to begin by sharing his perspective as a mentor, what the honors program does, what his role is in the program. And Professor Jacobs, feel free to take it away. We cannot hear you. You are muted.
Still unmuted.
There we go.
Yep. There we go. Yes, hi everybody. As Dr. Lynch said, my name is Andrew Jacobs. I'm a professor in the Communication Studies Department or Speech Department, and also I teach courses in Multicultural Studies as well. And I do want to echo a lot of what Dr. Lynch is really saying is that really I think that the honors program really presents an opportunity for students to really transfer to some of the most elite institutions and also just to institutions that are really the best fit for you as a student. And I think that's ultimately what's really most important, is to find a transfer institution that serves your interests and that helps prepare you for your career and educates you in the way that's best for you, really. And I think that we do a lot that really helps with that. Particularly, I think one of the things that we do very well is really to build relationships with students. I think ultimately, what you really need out of an education is to make connections with professors that help excite you about the subject matter, that help guide you in the directions that you can go, both in terms of transfer or just understanding the subject matter. And I think that's something that RCC professors really excel in doing, is building those relationships. I was just thinking just before the session began that I've been in contact with about a half a dozen RCC alums just in the past month or two alone, for example. And most of those are honor students, but not all of them are honor students, I would add as well. And so I think that really is fairly typical of how professors do build bonds with students and continue to guide them even after they've graduated. So like one of those students is applying to be a law professor at one institution. Another is going to do a presentation on an academic subject here at RCC this semester, and so on and so on. I think it gives you a sense of the breadth of the interests of our students. And so I think that's really what makes RCC special, is that sense of community that we really try to develop, even in this pandemic time where it's a little harder sometimes to make those connections. I think we still really succeed in doing that. Yeah, so I think I'll.
Thank you very much, Professor Jacobs. Really appreciate it. And if you all have any questions for Professor Jacobs, you're welcome to ask them in the Q&A. And then there will also be time at the end. I will open up the chat at the end and you can ask questions at that point. So I'm going to turn now to Professor Roche. She is our business mentor.
So good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's info session. About 5 years ago, we started the Business Honors track in the Sam Draper Honors Program, and I have served as the mentor all of this time. And as Professor Jacobs said, we're here to help you navigate your college, to advise you, to support you, and to recommend your transfer opportunities. As you know, students are required to take the 8 honors courses, as Dr. Lynch told you. And in business, we have honors courses in accounting, both financial and managerial. We have micro and macroeconomics. We have history of multiculturalism in business and industry, business ethics, and we have principles of marketing. I teach the principles of marketing honors class, and I always like to add an international collaborative project to the class. And in past years, students have worked with students in Morocco and also the Netherlands. However, the last 2 spring semesters, we have participated in a global solutions sustainability challenge. And even though we were locked down and sent home for online learning in spring 2020, we still were able to continue this collaboration with our partners at the University of Anbar in Iraq. Last spring, we worked with students from Middle East University in Amman, Jordan. And we competed with 28 teams nationally and in Iraq and Jordan. And due to the devotion, innovation, teamwork of the class, we were awarded 2nd place in the competition. And that came with a reward of $1,500, a digital badge, and a certificate. And the project, of course, developed their 21st century skills in terms of entrepreneurship, leadership, intercultural communications, collaborations, critical thinking, decision-making. So I'm very proud of the students. And in addition, we do have some extracurricular activities to go beyond the academic side. We have an economics club, an entrepreneurship club, and Alpha Beta Gamma. And Alpha Beta Gamma is an international business honor society that recognizes and encourages scholarship among business students. And I know the entrepreneurial club has entered business plan competitions. So joining this program will afford you many opportunities, and I hope that you will apply. And I wish you well in your future endeavors. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Professor Roche. Really appreciate it. And all the work that Professor Roche does with, our international, on our international end, our students get this great sort of almost Shark Tanky-like kind of competition. And it's wonderful. It's so much fun, and they do so well, and they distinguish themselves that way. We're going to turn things over to Dr. Leah Lee. Dr. Lee?
Hello, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the honors information session. I am going to speak from 3 perspectives. I play 3 roles. I am the honors mentor. I do work with a lot of students in the honors program. And in that sense, I see myself as a swimming coach, because college is about self-discovery. And when kids go away to a 4-year school directly from high school, they are pretty much swimming in the ocean on their own without the guidance, and they tend to get lost. They do not necessarily tell their parents, because I know this from personal experience. Whereas students in the honors program, they have the coach constantly on their side, steering them to the right direction, not only in pursuing a career, but also in terms of life. So that's why our students transfer very strong, and we created such a good reputation. That's not because of the professors, but because of the students. We created credibility through the transfer with the transfer schools. My second role in the program is I teach the honors courses. I teach College Writing 1 and College Writing 2. And I see the transfer schools accepting our curriculum, because when they transfer, oftentimes students email me asking me, Professor, could you email me the syllabus? Because the school, the four-year school wants to see the syllabus. And as a result, the students get transferred. So that's another point that I think we do really well as a community college honors program. The third role I play is that I am a parent, and my son came to RCC honors program unwillingly many years ago, but he did really well, and he transferred to Cornell. So I am very grateful personally to the program. My son came to the honors program not very mature, and yet, talking about swimming, his mentor really guided him to the right path, not only in terms of his career, but made him see his own potential and what he could achieve. And so eventually, after he graduated from Cornell, he went to University of Chicago 5 years for his PhD on full scholarship. So I am personally very grateful for the honors program. That's why I stay in here, and I want to getting more and more students into the program to benefit from the great guidance from the mentors, the rigorous teaching, high academic standards, and the low tuition cost. I do hope students would consider coming to the honors program, and not like my son, questioning and questioning, but eventually came, but really benefited from the program. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lee. It's wonderful to hear all three of your perspectives. I always appreciate that. We're going to turn now to Professor Peter Arvanites.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Honors Open House. My name is Peter Arvanites. I serve as a mentor in the program for students majoring in math, physics, engineering, and computer science. The mentoring is one of the hallmarks of the program. You'll be paired with a mentor. You'll meet them regularly. We'll help you put schedules together and answer any academic questions you may have, and we'll work with you until transfer. So we'll be very happy to write letters for you, suggest schools to apply to based upon our experience. And there are many schools that our students transfer to. I've had the pleasure of having many of my students transfer to Cornell, Georgia Tech, Cooper Union, MIT, Stanford, University of Pennsylvania, RPI, and Stevens Institute of Technology, just to name a few. So that tells you the caliber of the program. The honors classes are very rigorous. They prepare you for study at these institutions and many more. We stress theory and proof. So that's the key difference between a regular class and an honors class. We do accept AP credit. So if you're taking any advanced placement courses in calculus or statistics, as long as you score a 4 or 5 on the AP exam, you will get what is called transfer credit. So that means that you will not have to take the course at RCC. You will get credit on your transcript for those courses. The students in the program, pleasure to work with, always motivated, very active on campus. Many of them get involved in clubs. And not only that, they become members of the executive board of the club. I have the pleasure of advising the chess club. And for the past several years, an honor student has always been the president of the club, which makes my job much easier as advisor. Also, we do have some honor students that become members of the Board of Trustees. That's the governing body of the college, and they are active voting members of the board. A few of my students I've had the honor of having as Board of Trustee representatives. So very successful, only foreshadowing what is to come. So In conclusion, I just want to welcome you again and tell you to please consider the program. It is just the start of a successful academic career, and I wish all of you very well. Thank you.
You're here. Thank you, Professor Arvanites. And now I want to turn things over to Professor Makovich.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We very much appreciate it. I also teach in the math department. Like Professor Arvanite said, I advise students who are interested in math, computer science, engineering. I'm seeing more data science majors, as well as even some actuarial science students who are interested in that. My unique perspective is I am actually an alumni of the program. Professor Arvanites was my mentor. I always request to go right after him so I can make that note. The opportunity that this provides, and just what I want to stress is that where there's opportunity, that the potential here and the opportunity you can gain is unbelievable. In my experience as a mentor and a instructor in the program, I get to teach the Honors Calc 1 and the Honors Calc 2 courses. They're awesome to teach. I enjoy it as much as the students do, and the good questions everybody asks. It's a great experience for me. And in the same respect as a mentor, it's one of my favorite parts of my professional responsibility. Nothing's better when a student busts in your door and tells you where they got accepted to, or starts telling you about a difficult time and you get to brainstorm something. So working with this really strong, great group of students, like I said, is an unbelievable professional responsibility and something that I enjoy tremendously. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Professor Makovich. And we love that story too. The student turned mentor and working with his mentor. I love that. Nothing better. Dr. Butler, on to you.
Good evening, everyone. I will say again, thank you all for coming. We're so excited that you are here and interested in this amazing program that we offer. I mentor students that are interested in science, the pre-med, pre-dental, pre-vet students. I teach in the science department, specifically chemistry. Unlike the math department, though, our department does not accept AP credits, and that is mainly because of the labs. Our labs are a lot more hands-on at the college level than what many of you are still seeing in your AP courses at the high school, based on just the time that you spend in the lab at RCC compared to the high school. Our honors chemistry and biology labs are very different from what you would take in one of the regular sections of chemistry or biology in what we focus on. We focus a little bit more on analyzing data, how to collect that data, and then how to report back that data is what we spend a lot of time focusing on. Where a lot of the labs that you would have done in high school are what I like to call cookbook labs. You go in with a set of procedures, you do those procedures, you write down a few things, you turn in that report sheet, and you're done with the lab for the day. Our students are never done with lab. The second they leave lab, they have to spend a whole nother week writing up lab reports, looking at their data, and drawing some conclusions based on that data. So labs are never over in 1 week, as I like to tell my students. They have to spend some time with them outside of our 3 hours in the lab. Within our program, we also have a really strong connection with Buffalo Pharmacy School. We have a 2+4 program, a PharmD program, where you can start here and take classes for 2 years and then apply to Buffalo. And we have a certain number of seats that they kind of reserve for RCC students, that if your scores are high enough and your grades are high enough, they automatically accept you into the program so that you can go to Buffalo and then get your PharmD. So it's a wonderful program that we have. And I try to mentor those students as well that are interested in that PharmD program. Club-wise, we have a couple in science as well. We have a chemistry club, which I'm excited to announce we participated in the American Chemical Society's National Chemistry Week. So happy National Chemistry Week, everybody. Saturday is Mold Day, for those of you that are familiar with it. So we're celebrating that this week with our chemistry club. And we participated in a trivia event last night. Our little group of 5 students and 2 faculty came in 52nd out of 133. So we were very excited for that. And the national group that we were part of actually came in 2nd place. So we thought that was a pretty cool event. We had a lot of fun and had a lot of laughs at the same time with some of the trivia questions and our specific answers for those questions. We also have a Tri-Beta program, which is an honor society for the biological sciences that is active on campus as well and does a lot of individual research that students then go on to present. So lots of ways to get involved if you are excited about the sciences, as what I tend to be. So we look forward to welcoming you into our little program, and we hope to help you be ready to transfer to any four-year school and take sophomore and or junior level college classes in the sciences.
Wonderful. Thank you all so much. And please, if you continue to have questions, keep them coming. I am going to answer, there have been a few questions about transfer credit. So while we transition to the students, and I'll be doing that as I answer these questions. So bear with me, you'll see your screen changing somewhat, and I'm going to answer questions in the meantime. So the way that if you have taken college courses as a high school student, for example, perhaps you took RCC courses, or perhaps you took Syracuse courses or Albany courses. You may have also taken AP courses. Those are slightly different. So for now, I'm just going to focus on if you took courses offered by another college. Then that transcript, you actually have to tell Albany or Syracuse to send that transcript to RCC when you apply. And if there is a corresponding course at RCC that is similar to the course that you took, you will be granted transfer credit by our records office, okay? Now, on rare occasions, we do allow honors transfer credit, but that is only if the course was taught at the same level with very similar, almost identical learning outcomes and activities as one of our honors courses. Most of what we see is we see students coming in with, for example, a statistics course that they took, or a political science course, or an economics course, something like that. Okay. Again, it is very rare for a student to have taken a course that counts as an honors course. So as you're making your decisions about what college courses to take in high school, you're welcome to speak with your guidance counselor. You can also consult with us. A few of our mentors just mentioned and just addressed the topic of AP courses. There are many AP courses that RCC allows to count for transfer credit: statistics, calculus 1, etc. We've got European history, American history, courses like that. These are all non-honors courses that the AP scores count for. But the sciences are not one of those courses, okay? So you cannot take AP biology in high school and then receive credit for RCC's biology. That is not possible. But you can take calculus, college level calculus, AP calculus, and if you score high enough, then you will be able to get credit for calculus. So there is a particular website that has all of this information. You can always email our office when the session is over, and we're happy to point you in the direction of that site if you're interested. I see a couple of other questions here about, one question about acceptance rate. So the acceptance rate of the honors program, of RCC's honors program, is quite high. Mostly, we're in the 90%, 90-some percent. Most people who apply get in. But there are times when a student just hasn't done well enough in high school and we think they won't be successful in the honors program at RCC. And if that is the case, we will encourage you to, first of all, still come to RCC and take non-honors courses. And second of all, to remain connected to our office. Keep touching base with us. Do really well in your first semester at RCC and then join the honors program. So we'll answer more questions at the end of the session. Happy to, please keep them coming and we'll answer them. But I want to now switch gears and make sure that our wonderful alumni and students get to speak. So the first student who's going to speak tonight is Thomas Leonard. And I'm going to bring Thomas up here onto the stage. And Thomas will tell you a little bit about his experience at the honors program and where he went to next and any reflections that he has. And Thomas gets bonus points for wearing his RCC honors sweatshirt. Thomas, take it away.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for being here. And Dr. Lynch, thank you very much for setting this up. I want to say that my experience in the honors program more broadly was nothing short of wonderful. And in the time that I have, I want to focus on two things. First, I have to introduce myself. My name is Thomas Leonard. I am a graduate from the honors program in 2020. I studied math and science, and I am currently a student at Georgetown University studying government. During my time at the honors program, I want to say that it was, again, nothing short of wonderful. And I would like to sort of focus on two things in that. The first is the degree to which you are very much so in an environment where everyone around you is doing everything they can for you to succeed in whatever goal you might have when you come into the honors program. For me, I knew right away that my goal was to transfer. I wanted to very much so see RCC as a next step, but I slowly, with the honors program, fell in love with the school and everything that the program has to offer. And I think one of the main resources you'll find in sort of that idea of helping you along the way is your honors mentor. I had the privilege of working very closely with many of the panelists before me who spoke to you. And those mentors are very much so there to help you, whether it be academically, socially, spiritually, emotionally. They are there to help you with whatever you need. And that goes for as well Dr. Lynch and some of the other people who have been working in the background. And then the second thing I want to focus on is the degree to which you are prepared to be successful in whatever venture you might want to take. I think we've heard a lot about STEM. We've heard a lot about business, social sciences, whatever it is that you are passionate about, whatever it is that you want to do, the honors program will prepare you to do that. And I think what I loved the most about the classroom experience in the honors program is this idea that you're not just learning, but you're learning about the why and the hows and the what's about everything you're doing. Is very much so theory based, and it teaches you to think, it teaches you to ask questions, it teaches you how to conduct research to answer those questions, and it very much so teaches you how to be a leader and someone that is prominent in an academic sphere, again, whatever your passion might be. And then speaking more broadly, I want to be respectful of everyone's times. I think the number one piece of advice I can give you in terms of looking at the honors program is just to go for it. And for any of you that do go for it, I cannot recommend enough that you get involved outside of the classroom. During my time at the honors program, I served as the student representative to the board of trustees. And now at Georgetown, I am the chief of staff for their student government. And there is no way that I would have been able to accomplish all that or get involved with all of that if it wasn't for the degree to which the honors program pushed me, motivated me, and supported me through all of that. And again, it's not just academic, it's very much so. They will support you emotionally. It's a very tight-knit program with the brightest students and most passionate students on campus. And I could not recommend it enough.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Thomas, for being with us. And I should say, in his time with us, Thomas was the student trustee. He was deeply involved at the SUNY SA, the student assembly level. I mean, Thomas really made the most of his time at RCC, and that is the kind of student that a place like Georgetown accepts. So if you are looking for a great role model, look no further than Thomas, okay? He really made the most of things. And if you have questions for him, please feel free to put them in the Q&A. And in fact, I am going to open the chat. So if you want, you can go ahead and now use the chat. You can use the chat to talk to our panelists here if you'd like. Let me move on to Bridget Ramsey. Bridget, thanks for being here.
Can you hear me? All good? Okay, great. Hi, everyone. So nice to see you all. My name is Bridget Ramsey. I attended from fall 2016 to spring 2018 rather. And my degree was in humanities and social science. I started as an early admit, so I did attend during my senior year of high school. I thoroughly enjoyed the program and I got so much out of it. When I initially started the program, I wasn't sure if honors was right for me. I was a little hesitant. I didn't have the best grades in high school, and I thought that maybe this wouldn't be a great fit. But the mentorship from other professors, my main mentor, Dr. Padilla, who has since retired, and just seeing all my students, peers, that was a great experience for me to learn from them. And I learned so much, and they inspired me to do my best. And throughout the program, I was able to, learn what would be best for me from speaking with my mentor about classes. So I initially wanted to be a doctor when I came to RCC, and that did not happen. Now I've ended up studying political science after taking a political science course as required by my high school. And it was a great fit. I became the president of the Political Science and Pre-Law Association at RCC. I worked with the honors newsletter department, which was a lot of fun, the club there. And I worked in the honors department too as a student assistant. And that was a great experience, just getting work experience, office experience, and seeing the way, higher education functions was something that was really impressive to me and something that I wouldn't have had the experience, if I had gone elsewhere. After RCC, while I was still at RCC, I should note that I did attend the Cambridge University Study Abroad program, and that was very powerful. I did enjoy going off to Cambridge and spending 2 weeks there. I studied history and particularly early modern history in England, and that was great. I mean, again, something I had never studied before, but being a part of that, spending time with fellow RCC students as well as students from around the world was really powerful and something that I wouldn't have had if I had gone elsewhere to university. I wouldn't have studied abroad so early like I did at RCC. After RCC, I transferred to UNC Chapel Hill. So I went down for North Carolina, majored in political science. And while I was there, I still continued that love of pre-law as well. And over the summer, I've been applying to law schools and various job opportunities. And I heard from Albany Law School. And Albany Law School, just for being a SUNY graduate, is giving me $20,000 a year, a scholarship. It's called the SUNY Legal Fellowship. So that was definitely, again, I mean, talk about financial incentives. RCC definitely has them, and it's a great program. And even if you're a little hesitant, if you're maybe not thinking that you want to stay home for 2 years, or you think that maybe you're not ready to go off to college as a senior in high school, definitely, it's a very welcoming environment. Met so many good friends, good people there, great professors, and everyone's a mentor at RCC. And I really enjoy my time in the program. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Bridget, and congratulations. That is an incredible
Thank you.
scholarship, and I'm so
Thank you.
happy for you and proud of you. You're amazing.
Thank
Neola, please go ahead. So glad you're here.
Hello, everyone. My name is Neola Tian, and I graduated RCC spring 2019. I feel like it was such a long time ago. After RCC, I went to Johns Hopkins University. I graduated in 2021, yes, last spring. And I'm currently a graduate student at Johns Hopkins University at the Bloomer School of Public Health. RCC Honors, I like to tell you, I love the program so much because it has helped me in maturing as a person and also really figuring what I wanted to do. Because I joined the honors program as a senior from high school. So I graduated high school and then I came to the program and I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I thought it was pre-med, and really the program really helped me meet different people and also helped me build more confidence in myself in my academics. And so that's been great. I think everyone has said something about the mentoring, but really the mentoring at the honors program is great. Like you don't have to go just to your mentor. You can go to really any teacher because they're willing to talk to you and they really do care about you succeeding and you doing the best that you can and you being great. And so I, like most of my classes I've taken honors, I still talk to my professors. I've asked them for letters of recommendation. I just talk to them about mentoring and stuff. So really, you can really talk to anyone in the honors program because they really want you to do well. They want you to be successful and go where you want to go. And also I would say during transferring, the honors program was really helpful because I really didn't know where I was going to go. I had no idea I would move to Maryland. I didn't think I would be going outside New York. So the honors program has been really helpful in just helping me have a base for my academic career for college, and also just help me decide like what I want to do. And if you're really unsure about what you want to do, or just like unsure of where you want to go, the honors program is really helpful.
Neola, thanks so much. And do you want to tell everybody what you're doing now?
Oh yeah, I'm a grad student. I'm a grad student for health policy and management. I'm sorry, I'm in the middle of my finals. I have no idea what's going on anymore.
You're amazing for joining us, even though you're in the middle of the finals. And where are you in grad school?
Oh yeah, I'm at Hopkins. I go to Bloomer School of Public Health. So this is my first quarter, and so like it's like starting another institution again, but in the same school.
Same school, but a different part of it. Yeah. And Neola had a difficult choice to make because not only did you get into Hopkins where you had been, right, a different part of Hopkins, but you also got into Brown and a few other places. So you were a highly sought after applicant, and we are very proud of you for that. Well done. And we need you in public health, my friend. We need you desperately. Thank you for that. And now finally, we're going to turn to Miran. And Miran is a current student here at RCC. And so he's going to tell you what it's like right now in the middle of a pandemic to be an honors student. Please go ahead, Miran.
Hi, everyone. I'm Miran, as Dr. Lynch just mentioned. And I joined RCC. I got accepted into RCC itself. I remember in early July of 2020, which was in the midst of the pandemic, as soon as it sort of, kind of started rising, going off and whatnot. I got into the honors program after the interview, which happened in, I believe, early August or even late July of that same year. And I remember the interview process was, it was with Dr. Lynch, and it was like And I was a bit, stressed out about the interview process because I'd been in a few interviews before and they were sort of like, really formal. But this, I was wondering how it was going to happen in the midst of the pandemic. She sent me a Zoom link, I remember, and we got into the whole process of the interview in the midst of which she stated that I got accepted. So then I remember all the stress was gone. I was like, thank God, that sounds great. I remember I joined RCC with my high school GPA was around 3.7, so I figured that I had a shot at the honors program. And so far in the honors program, this is my third semester, and I've kept my GPA steady at least 3.97, which was, I mean, surprising for me and even for my parents because I haven't gotten the best grades in high school or middle school. But I mean, I was thankful for it. Even they were thankful for it. And I've met, even though I joined, and my first entire year, which was 2 semesters, was all online, and I had to take my speech class, which was also online. So it was kind of weird doing because we had to stand up for speech class, and it was kind of strange doing it in the room. Sometimes the Wi-Fi would cut out, so the class would not happen. But I was wondering, sort of, I remember my cousins would joke that there's no more snow days because you're on Zoom. So even if it's snowing outside, you're still going to go to class. My cousin had actually gone to RCC in the honors program some years ago as well. I think around the maybe in the early to mid 2000s. I remember, and his experience was, I remember, a lot different as compared to mine. I remember RCC had. I even spoke with him recently that he said RCC has changed a lot from now that you're in here from when I was there, and I even told him about some of the new things that they even had, which included the Connection Center, which is a recent sort of a thing that they've gotten into, which helps out with food insecurities, clothing and whatnot, and even health insurance. And recently, I got to learn about the Finance Fridays that even they happen to hold out, which teaches about credit card usage and how to use it effectively and whatnot, which I'm pretty sure I would need. But as for the mentorship, my mentor is Dr. Catherine Roche because I'm doing the Business Administration Honors Program. And I recently had a meeting with her about, the transfer and where to go. And she had thankfully, had a lot to offer in terms of advice and gave a lot of great advice as to where to go, where students have gone in the past and what to do for it. And I think even Dr. Lynch had helped out a lot with the transfer. She usually holds a lot of seminars, and she has like a lot of slides that can sort of teach how to transfer and what to do before transferring. But I remember in my first year, I had my second semester, I had a really interesting experience because there were 2 conferences happening at the time, the SUNY Undergraduate Research Conference and the Beacon Conference, which I impulsively decided that I was going to try to take part in because I already had research papers at hand. And I remember Dr. Leah Lee, who was the mentor for the English. She was my English professor at the time, and even Dr. Lynch had helped out a lot with those two the research papers that I had to submit to those 2 conferences. And thankfully, I'd gotten accepted into both of those conferences and got the chance to present. So, and unfortunately, I haven't had the chance to go to Cambridge as yet, but I'm looking forward to that happening hopefully this summer. And I mean, overall, my experience in the honors program has been great. It's been a steady experience. I was a bit nervous because I remember in the interview, Dr. Lynch mentioned that it's going to be a lot of roughhousing. It's going to be really tough to sort of go through, but it's been smooth sailing so far, and hopefully it will be for the next semester as well. But overall, it's been a great experience, and thank you for having me over, Dr. Lynch.
Thanks for coming, Ron. Thanks for giving us your time, everyone. Your perspective as current students and as recent students and alumni who have, gone on and seen other institutions and the way they do things and are able to sort of reflect on your experience here. We appreciate you so much. We know you're leading very, very busy lives. And if you can stay on, that'd be great because some of the folks in our audience may have questions for you. So what we're going to do now, I have opened the chat. I'm going to answer the question about accounting credits in just a second. I'll let you all go, so I'll return you to attendee status. But I am happy to allow people to unmute and speak if they'd like and ask a question that way. You can continue to use the Q&A tab. You can use the chat to ask questions. You can direct your questions to a specific person, or you can just ask a question more generally. So while you're thinking about what questions you have, I want to address the question about non-honors accounting credits from STAC. So if you have credits that are Accounting 101 and 102 from St. Thomas Aquinas, those will transfer into RCC as non-honors accounting credits. Now, what we do in the honors program is we have honors accounting 1 and 2. So you would work with your mentor, in this case, it would be Professor Roche, to consider how many honors credits you need, right, to graduate from that business honors track. And you may need to retake one of those classes. We wouldn't make you retake both of them, but you might find that you need to retake one. That's something you'll work out in your mentoring experience, okay? Now, if you wanted to not retake one and just graduate with, let's say, 7 honors classes as opposed to 8, that's okay. You wouldn't receive honors designation, but you would still graduate and you would still have lots of honors courses on your transcript and a wonderful experience in the program. So the transfer credits questions that we've been having tonight are really good and really important. And so the balance that you're striking when you transfer credits in is between, you know, getting ahead a little bit, saving a little bit of money, but then maybe not having that full honors experience. And we try to be as flexible as we can while also maintaining the rigor of the program. So if you're transferring in a lot of credits, you may not be able to get honors designation, but that doesn't mean that you can't still have a wonderful experience in the program itself. And so I'm happy to answer any questions. If you'd like to raise your hand, you may, and I'll let you unmute and you can speak. I see another question in the Q&A. So, to Miran, here's a question from Miran. So from Christian, what is your favorite part about being an honors student? Is there anything in particular you really like or enjoy so far? So Miran, give me a second. I'm going to bring you back up. What is your favorite part about being an honors student? And is there anything in particular that you really like and enjoy so far? Thank you so much, Christian, for your question.
Yeah, actually, would you repeat the question because I had to rejoin?
Yeah, no problem. So what is your favorite part about being an honors student? And is there anything in particular you really like or enjoy so far?
So kind of recent because the first year, as I said, was all online. But the second, and now starting with the third semester, which just sort of started in this September, I finally got the chance to go to campus for one in-person class, which was Fundamentals of Entrepreneurship. And I think that was that was my favorite part of it, just the whole program, just going to because I always go to the honors office these days, and I meet Carol and I meet Teresa, and they're great to hang out with. And I've joined. I remember I joined the Honors Newsletter Club back when everything was still online. That was a great experience. And I guess my favorite part about being in the honors program was joining the clubs and participating in the events that are now in person.
Wonderful. I'm so glad you can do that and that you've done that. Some students can't or they're unable to. You've really stepped up, and that's wonderful. The honors program, I'll let you all know, honors students tend to run the school. So they are often the presidents of clubs. They are usually the student trustee. For the past, several years, most of the student trustees have been honors students, including this year, including Thomas, whom you met earlier. And our student assistant in the honors program is actually also the trustee right now, Rafaelene. And so, the students have a lot of opportunity to step up and take on leadership. And Miran is one of those students who's done that. No small thing to do during a pandemic. And you've reached this really interesting moment where you're coming onto campus as a second-year student, and probably you don't know where you're going all the time, even though you've been an RCC student for a year, right? So it's sort of this interesting tension that we're facing in the pandemic. But the Honors Student Newsletter Club is one of the only clubs that has continued to persist throughout this very jarring time. And so we try to help our students get involved and stay engaged. And Miran has just really stepped up and done that for himself and is reaping the benefits. So great. Thank you so much. Is there anything else you wanted to add before we turn to the next question?
I think you summed it up pretty much perfectly.
All right. Well, we appreciate you.
Thank you.
Okay. We'll bring you back if we need you. So another great question. If a student isn't sure what direction he wants to pursue, how would he know which mentor to have and which honors courses to pursue? Great question. If someone is undecided, to your point, Elizabeth, we recommend that they begin on the humanities and social science honors track because that is the most flexible of all of our honors tracks. We will match them with a mentor who, it'll probably be me, to be honest, because I have a background in both the sciences and the humanities. I switched majors myself from science to humanities to English during my own college career. So I have experience pursuing both. And I've also got the ability to work very closely with colleagues who are in a variety of fields. And once the student decides what major they're interested in, then we switch them appropriately to the right mentor, to the right degree path. But in the meantime, there are things we can do that will help with any degree. So for example, we can get courses, we can have you take courses that are going to be required by any degree first, and will also help you explore as you start to try to decide what you'd like to do. There is no shame in arriving at school undecided. There are some really good strategic things you can do to explore, and some ways to make sure that everything you do will count toward whatever degree you choose. So it's very exciting to me actually when a student comes not quite knowing what they want, because then we get to be a part of that process with them, discovering what they want to do. Wonderful questions, everyone. Let me see what else we have. Yes, and I see Professor Jacobs is elaborating on the clubs. Would anyone like to unmute and ask a question? You're welcome to raise your hand if so. The raise hand button is the little hand at the bottom of your screen. You can continue to ask questions in the chat. You can continue to ask questions in the Q&A. And as you are thinking of your questions, one thing I hope that you learned tonight is that I'm going to use a word that isn't often used in academia, but that it is really a labor of love here, that love inflects what we do, that love is sort of the ethos of this program. We love what we do as teachers. We love what we do as staff. Our students, we're invested in what they love, and we want to encourage, empower, and enable them to meet their goals. That is our purpose. We don't have an agenda. The agenda is yours. Whatever that agenda is, we're going to help you. Amy is asking, is this presentation going to be available to rewatch? I'm really glad you asked. It is being recorded, and I will send out a PDF of the slides and this recording to every person who registered for this event. You'll receive that probably tomorrow. So yes, no problem at all. Do you all have any other questions tonight? So Nicole, thanks so much for your question. And I appreciated your email earlier today as well. Nicole is asking about the essay. So for the essay, what questions can we expect to answer or write about? And this is for the honors program's application essay. You have two options. The first is, why are you interested in joining the Sam Draper Honors Program? And the second is, if you've had any challenges in your academic life, please describe those challenges and how you overcame them. And so you can choose which one that you'd like to answer. But we always have that second question there because we know that sometimes your transcript doesn't tell the full story. And if something has been difficult for you, we want you to be able to express that and to talk about that with us. All right, great. Let's see. Great question. How would the honors program benefit me as a graphic design major? So this is a great question. If you wanted to pursue RCC's graphic design degree, you can still take some honors courses within that degree. So even that degree requires, for example, some English courses and a science course and a math course. So you would take those courses as honors classes. Would you probably end up getting honors designation? Probably not. You would then go on and pursue graphic design as a bachelor's degree. But I will tell you this. Once upon a time, there was an honor student named Emily, and she came to RCC and she thought she might want to do graphic design, but she wasn't sure. So she decided to do the humanities and social science honors track and take some art classes as her electives. And as she was exploring, she decided that actually, no, she wanted to be an art history major. And then she decided she wanted to be an English major. And then she went off to Fordham. She transferred to Fordham University and did great. And then got her master's degree in Toronto in English and did great. And now she's back at RCC teaching English. So if you're not sure about graphic design, we'd probably suggest that you'd start in a humanities and social science degree and do some exploring to make sure that graphic design is right for you. Then if it is, you pursue that degree. And if it isn't, then you pursue a different degree, or you get, you change your mind. And whatever you want, we're going to help you do that. Okay, we're not going to force you into something that you don't want. Fantastic questions. Let's see. Yeah, so, and I see that Teresa just answered another question about GPA. Just as a reminder, we're looking for roughly 88 GPA or higher, 3.5 or higher. If yours is a little bit lower, please still apply, right? We are not going to judge you entirely based on the numbers. That's why we interview everybody who applies to the honors program. We always want to talk to you. I love working for an open admissions institution. I went to a very elite and gated college experience, and I love being able to help students meet their goals and get to a place like that when starting at a place like this. There's a lot of freedom in starting at a place like this, and it's a really empowering experience. Question about tuition. So Wendy, I do not know that right off the top of my head, but I'm going to find out for you by going to our website real quick, okay? So let me just find that for you. And while we're, I'm going to put a link in the chat for you, and this page should have the answers that you need, okay? If not, you can always reach out to this email address, studentaccounts@sunyrockland.edu, and they will be very happy to answer your question. Excellent questions, everyone. Please keep them coming. What else are you curious about? Oh, perfect. Thank you. Teresa was able to go look that up for me. I appreciate that, Teresa. Okay. Great. Well, thank you all so much for being here tonight. I really appreciate that you took the time. I will be in touch soon, and I will have, oh, how many credits are needed for honors designation? I see Julian has asked a question. Thank you, Julian. It's not about credits, it's about classes. So 8 honors classes within your degree, and some of those have to be specific to your degree. So for example, if you're taking business, a business degree, certain business courses must be honors, and you'll work on that with your mentor. But in general, it's 8 honors courses, an applied learning experience, and a 3.5 GPA or higher. And that is after you've done all of that, after you've done your degree, if you've got all of that, you will receive honors designation. You'll get a special diploma. You can buy a special stole to put around your neck during graduation. It's beautiful. Carol has masterminded that. A student designed our honors logo, which you'll see on a lot of our paraphernalia, which is really exciting. So yeah, that's the answer to that question. Now, real quick, let me share my screen one more time. I want to just empower you to reach out to the people that you need if you continue to have questions. So, oops, let me go back. Okay. If you have follow-up questions, here's what to do. You can email honors@sunyrockland.edu. That's the best way. You can also email us specifically. So our wonderful folks behind the scenes, Carol Coiro and Teresa Mano, you can email them. You can also email me, klynch8@sunyrockland.edu. But honors@sunyrockland will get to all of us. And we would love to talk more with you. We're always happy to meet with you, one-on-one, via Zoom or via phone, or you're welcome to come into the office if you'd like. As long as you've been vaccinated, you can come onto campus with a mask, please. And we can do that as well. But we're happy to meet with you. We're happy to answer your specific questions. And again, I just really appreciate that you were with us tonight. And I hope that we receive your application soon. You will definitely receive the recording of this by tomorrow, and as well as my slides. So please be safe. Have a wonderful evening. Thanks to all our panelists tonight. Thanks especially to the alumni who took the time to come back, and to Miran, who took a break from studying tonight. And have a great rest of your week. Take care, everybody.